Fist for Life Mixed Martial Arts students, let's get to work with our technical training. Now, yesterday I had you guys flowing, do a drill where you focus on closing the gap, and we talked about going from, outside range, long range, and either you closing the gap or an assailant, coming at you, closing the gap, and having to, know how to neutralize, ultimately capture and control, and then where do we go from there, right? Ultimately, getting into that capture and control position, right, allows us to minimize the risk of getting smashed. It's really that simple. You see, as long as both of you are on your feet, you have mobility. Both have mobility. And again, the other person doesn't have to be a trained fighter or martial artist to be seriously, seriously dangerous. Just a little basic physicality and some gross mechanics on how to throw a punch. Someone can be extremely dangerous and have explosiveness. They can explode with heavy, heavy power. Doesn't take a lot of formal training just to be wild. I once heard this expression. It doesn't matter, if their person knows karate. They can just be crazy. And in that sense, be an extreme dangerous threat. So being able to capture and control and take it to the ground, now you take away mobility. You eliminate the mobility, you eliminate the dynamic explosiveness that can happen, and you're in a better position to control. Now, you got to have tremendous ground skills, wrestling and grappling skills to be able to take it there. But that's why we train. So today we're going to focus on just basic, once we get to the ground, you got to be able to move. And just like on your feet, where I stress footwork, ground mobility is extremely important. Being able to maneuver the body in new ways because, again, by nature, we're bipedal, right? We walk on our feet. This is quite natural to be dancing on our feet while we, in terms of striking skills. But when it comes to the ground, now we're in position like this where we're horizontal on the ground and we don't function like this. This isn't our natural state. So we have to learn how to utilize our body and structures to create mobility. So getting started today, basic ground mobility drills. Now, once again, folks, may not have the luxury of having a soft mats at home, so you can use the grass outside in the yard, put a big blanket out and work on top of that. Keep yourself from getting too dirty. A nice thick carpeted area would be great too. Even on top of a nice firm bed or mattress could function quite well for you to work through these basic ground drills. So, getting started. Basic ground mobility. Let's start with rock the baby. I'm just going to do a quick sample of each to remind you. I want you to set the timer and work each of these for 1 to 2 minutes, whatever you can tolerate. Or let's say do 1 minute rounds, but do it twice. So you get to work each drill for 2 minutes straight, okay? So let's start with rock the baby. Those of you that are more familiar, you know what to do. Those of you just getting started, beginners, let me refresh your memory. If you can't remember, rock the baby. Little rocks, right? Not using your arms or limbs, using your shoulders and your hips, and getting yourself moving in a circle like this. Rock the baby. Rock the baby. Next, we have roll the baby. This is where we utilize our basic ground structures. Hip post position. We're falling to the side, rolling to our back, rolling to our hip post position on the other side, and pushing ourselves back up. Imagine you're holding a ball. Keep the ball aired up. Don't let the ball deflate. Keep your structure in the same position and work through that motion continuously like you're a rolling ball. Right? And be sure and work both directions. Feeling those body connections, the hip, the knee, the elbow, the arm, the shoulder. Getting that roll. This is called roll the baby. Roll the baby. Roll the baby. Roll the baby. Next, hip bumps. Feet in tight, wide base. Pop those hips up as high as you can. Boom! Pushing up all the way to the ceiling. Hip bumps. Shh. Shh. Hip bumps. Shh. After you do about 20 of those, go ahead and start working the sweep. Hip bump and reach over the head, touch the mat and back down. Hip bump, sweep. Hip bump, sweep. hip bump, sweep, hip bumps. After hip bump, tornado.